Hello, and welcome to Xamarin University. We're so excited that you're looking at learning Xamarin with the best learning path available. Let's take a look at the benefits of being a XAMU subscriber. First, let's talk about what you have access to. You can attend live classes with world-class experts in Xamarin. These classes are hands-on, interactive, and you can take them as many times as you like. So if you feel like you need a refresher or you want to see updated content, it's no problem. One of the coolest benefits of this subscription is that you'll have access to one-on-one 30-minute office hour sessions with our instructors. You can take advantage of their deep knowledge to help you with the project you're working on, get advice about your code, or just ask questions about something you learned in class. There's a substantial Xamarin community that you'll be introduced to, as well as a private forum just for XAMU students where you can interact with other students and instructors. And finally, you can follow our certification track and become a Xamarin certified mobile developer, and let your colleagues know that Xamarin has certified you as an expert in the technology. The gateway to all these benefits is at university.xamarin.com. It's on the website where you'll schedule classes, find course materials, track your certification progress, and much more. Let's take a look at some of the specific features of the website now. One of the first things you'll want to do is begin scheduling classes. Use the header bar across the top of the page to switch between different informational views. You can view the class schedule through the Schedule tab, which presents a list of classes organized by date. Then you can select a class to register and attend. The Classes tab displays classes organized by a defined category. The categories are seen in the subbar just under the main navigation header and show classes specific to a platform. Depending on what product you're signed up for, you'll see a different set of available classes. What we're showing here on the screen is the full XAMU product, but Test Cloud users will only see classes related to testing in Test Cloud. And just like Schedule, you can select a class to get more details, see upcoming classes, and register to attend. When you select a class, you'll get a pop-up with several important pieces of information. First, there's a brief description of the class which tells you the high-level concepts which will be covered. Next, you can see the upcoming runs of the class. These are organized by date and time in your time zone and the instructor that'll be teaching the class. If there's a class you want to attend but it's not available at a convenient time, you can request a new class be added to the schedule in your time zone. Our logistics coordinator will then work with you to get the class onto the schedule. We try very hard to make the live classes as convenient as we can. Finally, there's a set of icons which give you access to the frequently asked questions, class materials, and, if it's available, a recorded video of the class. We make sure to take attendance during each class so that you can get credit for every class you take. You'll receive an email once you register for a class and another just before class starts. Classes you've registered for show up on your profile page with links to join the class, add it to your calendar, and unregister if necessary. If something comes up and you cannot attend, please try to unregister as soon as possible so others on the waiting list can take your place. We use GoToTraining for our live classes. You'll get a much better experience with the desktop client, so make sure to use that when joining a class. Depending on your browser, you'll get a slightly different experience. In Chrome, GoToTraining just launches the web version, and you need to click the More Options button shown here to open the sidebar, and then click the Switch to Desktop version button. Other browsers might prompt you for the web version when you join the class. Don't allow the web client to start, and instead download and run GoToTraining either through the link on the GoToTraining page or through the automatic download, which might start depending on your browser. One of the links you saw in the class details is the materials link. Each class has a set of unique materials which you should download before you take the class. We recommend doing this the same day as class to make sure you have the most recent copy. There's a standard format to these materials, starting with a Start Here HTML file. Make sure to read through this file before class starts. It'll list any prerequisites you should have, give you a copy of the slides, and all of the lab exercises. The other folders are used for the lab exercises. In most cases, we try to carry the same lab throughout the entire class. The first exercise will often have you create a new project, and then you'll build on that application throughout the class. So by the time class is finished, you have a fully functional application. In some cases, though, the starting requirements are a bit too high to start with a brand new project, so there might be a starter solution to begin with. These will be in the resources folders, organized by the lab exercises in the class. Each part has a completed project, which has all the completed lab steps. When you're done with an exercise, you can compare your solution with the completed one, and if you like, you can always use it to start the next exercise with. Finally, in some cases we'll have assets as part of the resources folder. These are usually pieces of code which would be too long to type out, or perhaps some graphics used in an exercise. The lab instructions for each lab found in the Start Here file will tell you which folder to work with and what's included. One of the things that makes XAMU so special is that you get to interact with the instructors. We want you to participate in class. This makes the experience so much more engaging for everyone. We encourage you to participate during flash quizzes, where we'll test you on material we just covered. Take advantage of the deep experience of our instructors. Ask questions, use your microphone or the chat window. We really want to hear from you. We might just ask you a question during class, so be prepared. So now, let's talk about how we organize our course materials. The classes are organized through a unique class identifier, which consists of a 3-letter category and a class number. For example, iOS, A&D for Android, and XAM for Xamarin Forms. We're going to look at these in more detail shortly. The category tells you which technology is being covered in the class and helps you identify the classes you want to take. For example, iOS-specific classes or Xamarin Forms-specific classes. The class number will tell you the level of the content and what experience expectations are. 100-level classes are considered introductory, and they generally assume very little knowledge about the topic. If you've done a lot with the technology covered or have used a similar feature on other platforms, then these classes will likely just be good reminders for you. 200-level classes are intermediate, and they generally assume that you have the basics down and are diving a little deeper into a topic. And finally, 300-level and beyond are advanced topics, which assume prerequisite knowledge and often build on the lower-level classes. When deciding on your schedule, we highly recommend you take the courses in numerically increasing order. There may be times when this becomes impractical just due to scheduling, but if possible, try to do them in the order we have them listed in. The classes are often structured so that one builds on the next within a category. So if you take a higher numbered class, it's possible you won't have some piece of information that was communicated in one of the earlier classes. In some cases, we have very explicit prerequisites. And when this happens, the website will try to warn you about taking them out of order to ensure you get the most out of each class. We prefer you to take the live classes because that's where you'll get the most out of every class. But if you want to just quickly skim a class, the video option might be for you. Be aware that sometimes the videos are a little behind the live classes. We update those classes quite frequently to keep up with changes in the platforms. The videos are also updated, but it takes a little while to re-record, edit, and publish, so they often lag a bit behind. There are 2 other types of videos available to you as well. First, we periodically schedule guest lectures with prominent Xamarin engineers and industry experts to talk about an interesting topic. We typically have 1 or 2 of these a month. They're recorded, and you can either watch them live or watch the recording once it's published. We also have lightning lectures, which are short mini lectures to supplement our other courses. These might be about some new feature that's been introduced, or it might be an expansion on a topic that's covered in one of our classes. Both of those lecture styles are available from the university through the lectures menu. Some of the XAMU classes are also available as self-guided classes. These classes consist of short videos, interactive content, quizzes, and exercises, and they contain all of the same content as the live classes. The biggest benefit of the self-guided classes is the ability to take them any time of day, and you're not required to complete a class in a single session. Okay, so that covers the coursework. As I mentioned earlier, if you're signed up for full Xamarin University access, then you also have access to one of our coolest benefits: 8 30-minute one-on-one office hour sessions with a XAMU instructor. The office hours are intended for learning the class materials and expanding your development goals. So you might choose to talk about your application or architecture, or even walk through code to help better understand how something works, or learn a better way to implement it. You can sign up right on the website. Just check the schedule page and click the office hours button. This is a wonderful benefit only available to XAMU students, and we highly recommend you take advantage of it. Keep in mind, though, that the office hour sessions are not intended for support calls. In these cases, we encourage you to use the dedicated support channel for issues with the Xamarin products or to request fixes or features in the platform. If you have trouble getting connected to support, just let us know through the training@xamarin.com email address or file a support ticket, and we can help get you in touch with the proper support engineer. Another distinct advantage of Xamarin is the dedicated community behind it. There are very active forums available, as well as a large C# community that you can rely on. In addition, full Xamarin University subscribers also have access to an internal set of forums. These are managed by our instructor staff. Here you can ask questions, get additional information on sessions, or just chat with other mobile developers about building applications. We would love for each of you to be heavily involved in the program. The more you put into it, the more you'll learn and ultimately get out of it. Finally, we try to stay in contact with all of our subscribers. We send out a quarterly newsletter with course updates, upcoming events, and all things happening at XAMU. We also have a Twitter feed that you can subscribe to, as well as dedicated LinkedIn and Facebook groups. One of the benefits that many students take Xamarin University classes for is the certification process. The certification is only available to XAMU students, and it's an optional step in the training program, but highly recommended. It'll cap off your training and let your company and clients know that Xamarin endorses you as an expert in the technology. The process of certification involves taking a set of required classes, which are listed on the website. You can go to the certification page to see the list. Your profile page on the university site will show you your progress and recommend the next courses to take. For these required classes, you must take the live classes with an instructor or complete the self-guided course if available. We can't accept the videos for certification as they are considered supplementary materials and sometimes lag a bit behind the live and self-guided courses. If you've done some mobile development already and want to jumpstart your progress, you can take an assessment test, which lets you skip most of the introductory level classes. You can get more details on the certification process, assessment tests, study guides, and frequently asked questions from the certification page on the website. Becoming a certified mobile developer is an awesome achievement. It's not easy, it takes time and commitment, but it's got some really great benefits. First, your company and clients can verify your certification status directly on the website. It's valid for 1 year, and we have a set of class requirements to get recertified once your certification has expired. The certification itself gives you access to a badge you can display on your website, a certificate, and some swag we'll send you. It also gives you access to a private LinkedIn group with other certified developers. This group is where we send people looking for developers to build mobile apps when we get consulting requests. Okay, so once you've completed 85% of the required classes, you'll receive an invitation to schedule a required one-on-one interview with a Xamarin University instructor to help you prepare for the exam. This will give you an opportunity to ask any outstanding questions about Xamarin, the certification process, and make sure you're on track to be successful. Once the required classes and one-on-one are complete, you'll be sent an invitation to take the certification exam. The exam itself consists of 150 multiple-choice questions. It covers iOS, Android, and cross-platform techniques and must be completed within 3 hours with a score of 80% or better. The questions are pulled out of the required classes, and there's a study guide and FAQ about the exam on the website. You can retake the exam up to 3 times, although that's never been necessary, as the classes and study guides should be enough to prepare you. So I'd like to tell you about 2 other resources available to you. The first one is the Developer Center. This is available at developer.xamarin.com, and it's our documentation portal. It has extensive documentation on the platform APIs, getting started guides, code walkthroughs, and examples of common patterns that you'll find useful. The class materials will often point you to places in the Developer Center for additional reading, but it's very useful to go through it independently as well. And lastly, we have several GitHub repos with various samples and demo projects. You can download these and try them for yourself. These are a really great resource for you to see how we put all the pieces together. Check out github.com/Xamarin and scroll through all the public repositories. Okay, so now you've seen the university site, and we've covered the class registration process and how you'll go through the program. So where should you start? Well, that answer depends on where you're coming from. If you're new to programming or to C#, then our C# curriculum is where you should begin. Enroll in CSC 101 and follow that track to get a feel for how C# programs are constructed and how to create mobile apps with C#. If you're primarily interested in iOS development, then you should begin on our iOS track, starting with iOS 101, to learn about the iOS application structure and how to build, deploy, and debug an iOS application written in C#. If iOS isn't your thing and you want to focus on Android, then start on that track with AND 101. Here we cover the tools and project structure for crafting Android apps with Xamarin. If you're interested in creating a single UI that is shared across iOS, Android, and Windows, and are coming from a heavy Microsoft background, then you might want to start on the Xamarin Forms track with Xam 120. If you're a Test Cloud subscriber, then you should start working through the available Test Cloud classes. If you want to learn how to build, deploy, and manage cloud-hosted applications, take a look at our courses on Azure. The Enterprise track focuses on integrating your apps with enterprise services and securing local data. And if you're an experienced C# developer and are curious about F#, take a look at the F# courses to get a jump start. Of course, you can jump between tracks if you like, or even pursue certification by following the path we've just laid out. Just make sure to take the prerequisites where we recommend them so you're prepared for each class. And with that, I'd like to welcome you to Xamarin University.